Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to Gluten-Free Learning. Welcome to my new series of videos where we are going to be learning how to use the S-Frame engineering, design, and analysis software. And what I'm going to be covering is going to be super introductory. It's going to be aimed at the beginners who have never seen the software before, who are just learning out how to use it for the first time, whether it's in their school or their place of work. And we're going to be focusing on the analysis version. There's different versions like steel or wood or timber design, steel or reinforced concrete, but in this series we're going to be looking at just the analysis. So if you're specifically taking some finite element methods courses or some structural analysis, this could be a super useful tool. So we're going to be covering the basics, like I said, just how to create new files, looking at your units, navigating through the interface in this video, and later on we're going to be looking at how to actually build the model, build different kinds of models, including a spring system, beam systems, trusses, how finite element methods can be used to analyze certain structures using the mesh tool, and so forth. So if you already know the basics, and if you're familiar with creating new files or how to select units and how to navigate through the user interface, then maybe you can skip ahead to the next video. But for those that are just starting how to use or just learning how to use S-Frame, then I recommend watching this video. So when we first open up S-Frame, this is going to be the first window that pops up. And it's going to ask you if you want to open up an existing file or if you want to create something new. So obviously we want to create something new. And because this is just the beginner tutorials, we're going to look at the top where it says new 2D. We're going to be sticking with two-dimensional models. We're going to leave three-dimensional models for later tutorials when we cover more advanced topics. Then it's going to prompt you with this window here. It's going to ask for your project titles, your structure descriptions, your engineer, whatever. You can fill this out how you like. It doesn't really matter. And you can always change this when you're inside the file itself. Now this is semi-important at this stage. We've got our units. The reason I say it's semi-important is because whatever you set these units to as right now, you're not stuck with those throughout the entire project. You can actually modify these within the project itself at any point. And I'm going to cover that in a later video. So for now, we don't really need to modify any of these. We can just leave it as is. But you can modify them if you do like, depending on what units your data is in or your problem you're given is in. You can change that to whatever you want. Again, these are the results units. So whenever we run a model and get some results, they're going to be displayed in certain units. And this window tells us what units we want those results to be displayed in. It's not super important at this stage because you can change it when you're inside your model. So whatever you select here, you're not locked down to that. The modeling options, we have a tolerance of 0.001. That's totally fine in my opinion. You can change that to even smaller if you like, but this should be okay. Building code and concrete code design, different codes. In these videos, the beginner, we're not going to be doing any building code checks, so you can leave these as none or whatever one. It doesn't really matter at this stage because we're not going to be using them. So just click next. And now finally it's asking you if we want to start from scratch. And yes, we do. We want to open up a blank model and start from scratch. Click finished. And there you go. So when you open up S-Frame software, this is going to be the home screen, the main screen that comes up every time you open it up. And there's a few key tools that we're going to be looking at today. And just getting the names down so when I refer to them later on in my tutorials, you know what I'm talking about. So looking over on the left-hand side of your screen, in the red box, that's called the modeling tools. And those are typically the hub, the main hub where you're going to be using the most frequently because this is kind of all your tools like in AutoCAD. So, and if you look at the top, you'll see my cursor is highlighted with a blue square. So that looks like it's been selected. So that's the square that goes around each tool when it's been selected, okay? And don't worry about the names of each one of these individual modeling tools right now. Just know that the bar itself is called the modeling toolbar, and each tool we're going to look at individually in further tutorials. Like I said, that's going to be your active tool, the one that's highlighted with the blue square. And then just below that's called the Windows shortcut bar. So right now it looks like the geometry Windows shortcut bar is selected, and there's other options including loads, graphical, spreadsheet, numerical, and CAD details. So if you click on the loads or graphical or spreadsheet Windows shortcut bar, it's going to replace the current geometry shortcut bar and give you a whole new set of new modeling tools. So that's important. And on the very bottom in the green square, That's called your status bar. So these are usually on and off features. So if you click on them, it'll either turn things on or turn things off, usually visual features, similar to AutoCAD when we're dealing with like snapping on or snapping off tools. It's going to be similar to that. It's going to display things and so forth. And in the very middle, the center is going to be the global axis or the origin. So your 0, 0 coordinates, just like any other modeling software, it's going to have a coordinate system, your global coordinate system, and the center of the screen, this is what our global axis looks like. And then the data bar, this is going to change depending on what modeling tool you've been selected, and you're going to have some separate input data options that you can put in for the modeling tool that you're interested in. And then your properties toolbar. So this is important for when we're dealing with, say for beams, for example, when we're dealing with steel or any other kind or any other type of material, it's going to have a different set of properties. And then we're going to be looking at different cross sections as well as different materials, and all those properties are going to play a different role in our structure or our system. And that's pretty much it for the tools that we're going to be looking at in my beginner set of videos. So I recommend kind of taking maybe a screenshot of this, printing it out, and just having it beside you as we work through the tutorials so you know exactly where to look when I refer to these throughout my videos. So again, good luck in my tutorials. I'm going to try and keep it very basic, and in my next video we are going to start building a model, and building a model of spring systems specifically.